In this video, we're going to explore a number of different ways of updating product prices in bulk. There are 5 different ways to update product prices in Brightpearl. This first method on the product edit screen is where we edit a single item, and we do have control over tiered pricing or volume discounts, and where we can see the price list SKU. The second method is on the variant edit screen, where you can work with multiple items at once. However, you can't work with tiered pricing, and you can see the price list SKU. The third method is by importing an Excel file in conjunction with a data map, but this does not support tiered pricing and does not support price list SKU. The fourth method is importing a CSV price list file, which does support tiered pricing and does support price list SKU. And then the fifth method, the final method, is to update the product prices over API using the product price put message. This does support tiered prices, but doesn't support the price list SKU. So let's have a look at the first method, editing prices on the product edit screen for a single item. So here we have a product, the recycled paper notebook. And in the prices tab, you can see 4 different price lists that I have set up in the system. We've got cost, euros, retail, and wholesale. One disadvantage of this method of editing prices is that if you've got more than 15 price lists, they won't all show on screen. So if you do have more than 15 price lists, you probably want to use another method for editing prices. So here's the price list specific SKU, and in this example, it's on the cost price list, so this is my supplier SKU, which is different from the company SKU or the main SKU, which is on the first tab. And here you can also see that we can work with volume discounts or tiered pricing. So for 1, this costs us $10, 10 it costs us $9.50, and 100 plus costs us $9. If your price list is set up excluding tax, then you'll get 4 decimal places here and the price won't be underlined. However, if your price is set up to include tax, then you'll see 2 decimal places here and the price will be underlined. The next method is on the variant edit screen for multiple items at once. You can reach the variant edit screen from the product list. So bring up a product that's got multiple variants. We can see this one's got red, black and purple. And under the Actions button, click Edit Variants. On the right hand side you can see a Prices tab under which all your different prices are. So let's click to edit the retail, where you can either work through them one at a time, or you can choose a new price and click Apply, and that'll apply to all of the items. Now remember that this screen supports unit price only, so if you already have any volume discounts or tiered pricing, saving this screen will remove them. If you wanted to edit the price list SKUs, you can do so here. The third method is to import an Excel file in conjunction with a data map. So here we're on the import screen for a data map I've already created. The first column is the SKU, and then we can add price columns, as many price columns as we like, and this is quite useful because we can update multiple price lists at the same time. You can use a different field for the first column if you like. Generally we recommend either the SKU or the Brightpearl product ID to identify the product you're going to update. And don't forget that the prices you're importing are excluding tax, and anything you import here will overwrite any volume discounts or tiered pricing that you have. For more information on updating products in bulk from a spreadsheet, there's a separate video. The fourth method is by importing a CSV price list file. And this is perhaps the most capable import method because it does support price breaks and it does support updating the price list SKU. So to import a price list CSV, go to the setup area and then on the left hand side under products and inventory, go to price lists. This screen shows all of your price lists where you can click to import a price list. You can choose whether to match by product ID, primary SKU or your supplier price list SKU. So if you've got a file that's come from your supplier with only their SKU and a price, you can use this method. You don't need to know your internal ID, your primary SKU, which is quite handy. And then you choose the CSV file and choose which price list to update. So let's see how we structure this file. It's a fixed format CSV, with the first column being product ID and then the item name. This item name is purely for your reference. It's not used to update the product itself. Then the primary SKU, and again this is just used for reference, it doesn't update the product. Then you have the price list SKU, and then the breaks, and then the prices. To show you what that looks like, I've created a demo CSV here. The first column is the product ID, the second column is the name, and here's my internal SKU, my supplier SKU, and then the breaks, so 1 plus, 10 plus, or 100 plus, and prices, $10, $9.50, and $9. So here, if you bought 10, you'd be paying $9.50. Now you only need to identify products by one of either A, C, and D. So if you only have your supplier code, you can delete these out. And similarly, if you only have your product ID, you can delete out the other two. It's always a good idea to put something in the first column, otherwise Excel might save your CSV without that column in it. So if you wanted to match by supplier SKU, I'd recommend you just put a placeholder number in there. Then once you've got your CSV, simply import it. The final method of updating prices is via API, which is a technical way of doing things, and if you've not used our API before, please get in touch with the developer to build a custom integration for you. So as part of your product update process, you'll probably want to export your existing prices to then re-import into Brightpearl. There are three ways to do this: from the product list, from the price list screen, and then over API using the product price get message. So the first method, from the product list. By default, you only have one price list showing here on the right hand side, and that's what you've got set up as your default price, which is the one it's set up, contacts, contact defaults. However, what you can do is click Show Filter and then choose any other price list to add to this screen. So let's click Filter, where we can now see Cost, Euro Retail, which on this one is actually all empty, and then Retail. When you export, these prices will come out. Now if you're exporting gross price lists, including tax, don't forget you need to take tax off to re-import if you're using Excel spreadsheet or CSV, because the system is expecting excluding tax prices. The other method to export prices is from the price list screen. So let's go Product, Setup, Price Lists, where on the right hand side you can use either of these icons, either Excel or CSV, to get all the existing prices in the system. Now something to bear in mind with this method is that if you've added a price list after a product and you've not saved that product, then the price list will have a blank entry for that particular product, which means that it won't export here. This method will only show products where there is a 0 or higher price. If you wanted to export all products as a CSV or all products as an XLS, then use one of these two buttons here. So now you know all the different ways in which you can update your product prices in bulk.